Prithviraj Chavan is a significant figure because former Maharashtra Chief Minister was also a part of this so-called G23. I don't know how many members of that 23 are left now, Mr. Chavan, but how do you respond? Ghulam Nabi Azad, 50 years in the Congress, is resigning in the manner that he is?
Well, I'm very sad, extremely sad and pained. Ghulam Nabi Azad was a very senior leader. Not only that he was a secular face of the party, not a minority leader, he was a leader in the true sense. Now, unfortunately, it's being said that we have given so much to him and he got so much and all that thing. See, had Ghulam Nabi Azad was elected to the Congress Working Committee position whenever elections were taken place. Unfortunately, for last 24 years, elections have not taken place. And when we raised the issues and that various issues, that letter that 23 of us wrote, the main demand was that either somebody should, if Rahul Gandhi is ready, let him take over the presidency of the Congress party, leading from the front, and also take responsibilities and accountability of the position that Congress presidents entail. But if he is not willing to accept that responsibility for whatever reason, after two successive defeats, he quit in a huff, then let a new president be elected. Unfortunately, to all organs of the Congress party, elections had not been held for 24 years. That's why when it comes, we have given him so much, we have given. Are we running in a Mughal empire or what? I mean, if there are elections,
no, so you are endorsing what is said in this letter? Are you endorsing what Ghulam Nabi Azad says about the state of the Congress, the sycophancy, the coterie, the non-accountability of the leadership? Are you echoing that?
No, I'm not endorsing that. I am stating the letter which we wrote, why we wrote that letter. We wrote that letter because there was no elected body to all the organs of the Congress party, and that is why we wanted to explore why Congress party was deteriorating, why we were losing elections after elections. We lost 2 Lok Sabha elections, almost 40 assembly elections. Why was that happen? We wanted introspection. Unfortunately, that did not happen. The Udaipur camp was shifted from being a Chintan Shibir to a Navasankalpa Shibir. Forget about what has happened in the past. Now let's think of the future. But if we continue to make the mistakes that happened in the assembly elections, then Congress party will not revive. This is the historical responsibility of the Congress party to provide a credible, viable alternative to the dictatorial policies of Mr. Modi.
No, you're saying
Congress
that
party is failing in that.
You're saying that
elections.
You're saying that
why
because
are people not supporting us?
Okay, you're saying that you need to introspect. Why are you losing elections? Pawan Khera is saying that there is also an angle, in a way, of people who have served the party for years who are unwilling to move out. You need to also give space to a younger leadership.
That's perfectly fine. That's a hold elections. Automatically young people will get elected and they will have legitimacy. Then you will not say that I gave you this much, I gave you this much, Congress party gave you this much. What is there to give? Now when you form a cabinet, you have to form a cabinet of competent people. If Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad was thought to be a competent leader by Mrs. Indira Gandhi, by Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, then he was a competent leader. But if you had elections, he would have been elected. Now, first, you don't hold any elections. The party is not run on democratic principles. You want to accuse Mr. Modi of a dictatorial, running this country dictatorially. But we are not offering a democratic alternative. So all we had said in that letter, which Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad was also a signatory, the letter which you wrote 2 years back, we had said that hold elections as per the Congress constitution.
No, you're saying something very big. You're saying, Mr. Chavan, you're saying something very important. You're saying that the Congress accuses the BJP of being run under Mr. Modi like a dictatorship, but you do not have the same democracy within your party is what you're claiming. But the fact is, all of you have come from that same culture. For years, while the Congress was in power, none of you complained. Now when the Congress is out of power and you don't see any prospect of returning to power, you suddenly are singling out this anti-democratic culture of your party. This is the way your party has been run for years.
Rajdeep, come on. Rajdeep, come on. Rajdeep, come on. Our Congress party has got a registration with the Election Commission based on a Congress party constitution. Now, is it a legitimate question to ask whether the Congress party is being run As per that constitution,
Sure,
it has been there for 135
sure,
years.
sir. Sure, it's a legitimate question, but for 24 years you've not had.
That is why we've been losing elections.
For 24 years you've not had a Congress working committee being elected. Now it's only in the last couple of years that you are waking up.
No, the Congress working committee has been there. Congress working committee has been there, but it's been a nominated committee, not elected committee. So yes, you can accuse all of us of not raising our voice earlier. Fine, but does that not the legitimate question of there should be elections, democratic elections, the party is not a valid question?
It is a valid
and
question.
Will the elections be held now to all the positions, all the organs of the Congress party?
You know, it is a valid question, but let me ask you a direct question. Do you believe that Rahul Gandhi is really the person to lead you into the future? Is part of the problem here between those who, when Mr. Azad makes these attacks, it appears he's attacking those around Rahul Gandhi versus those who are seen to be more loyal to the Sonia Rajiv regime, and they are finding themselves increasingly discomfited in this new Rahul Gandhi Congress. Is that the problem between the Rahul Congress and the Sonia Congress, or the old guard and the new?
Look, no, Rajdeep, I'm not a pleader for Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad or anything else. All I'm saying that some of us, we met together and wrote that letter, felt that Congress party has come to this pass only because it is not run purely on a democratic level. The positions in the Congress party have been manned by appointed people, and appointed people tend to only agree with whatever leader wants. They became all yes men, and that is the real reason why we lost the election. If I have no problem with anybody in the party, whatever names are taken, but they should be elected. If Mr. Rahul Gandhi wants to get elected as a Congress president, I have no problem. And the rank and file of the Congress party elects him. Whether the elections are fair, transparent or not, on all that, that's another question. We cannot have even national elections are not that transparent, but let's have elections with all their faults.
Okay, so you in a sense,
let's have elections.
You are
if
saying
Mr. Rahul Gandhi wants to contest the president's election, let him contest.
Okay, your point is well taken. The Congress, you are saying, needs to restore, you believe, an element of democracy in its style of functioning, which you believe is absent at the moment. And that was what you raised a few years ago. Appreciate Prithviraj Chavan, you're joining us here on this big day.